Pro Wrestling Weekly. For over 20 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment radio talk.
Is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
You really do sound like a
grizzled old vet. Is that where you were going with there?
Yes.
To not get you in trouble?
Oh, I'll get in trouble at some point. Believe me, I'll do something.
Well, to keep you out of trouble in this case, at least.
And now, here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Ooh, I'm getting good at this radio thing.
Yeah. It only took you 5.5 years.
I'm not good at it yet. I'm starting.
Yeah.
Only slightly.
Slowest escalator upward.
Shut up!
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Mitch.
Hey, glad to be back.
Help if I turn that on there. Twitch could not, he's supposed to join us here, but from what he was telling me a little bit earlier, he was actually at a wrestling event in Cleveland, Ohio last night, and we even heard a little bit about some of the perils that he had getting back.
So I had to rent a car because I missed the plane from Cleveland. 4 o'clock, you know. And a flat tire on the highway. What a kicker. I had to fix it myself with these little pinkies.
How he sounds like Richard Pryor, I have no idea, but I guess it's because he was fighting that sinus infection, so maybe that had a little something to do with it. I don't know.
Probably.
Perhaps. So quite a bit to get into this week. We've got developments as we're making our way closer to Money in the Bank coming up next month. The big competitive ladder match and everything of that nature. Plus a bit of a return from somebody a little unexpected who hasn't really been in the wrestling circles in quite a while. We'll get into that here over the course of the hour. Also, after a little bit of mocking even here on this show last week, a name change for a WWE tag team. Also, the shakeup, not quite over, but, at least not in an official capacity. A little kind of after the a post-shakeup in a sense with WWE. Also, since the WrestleMania main event with Ronda Rousey as well as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, you haven't heard too much from Rousey. Well, she's had her YouTube show, and she talked a little bit about what she's been doing since that WrestleMania main event a few weeks ago. And also a bit of a power play from WWE as far as something outside of that particular realm. And, before we even get into any of that, plus there's a whole bunch more stuff here, I have to delve into this first because I'd introduced Mitch to it a little bit earlier here just to get an idea of what all was going on. A return that we hadn't seen, we've seen kind of little drips and drabs of it heading in here over the last couple of weeks, the puppets and the dolls and everything, but we finally got an introduction as to where it was going, and boy, did it take a twist that I don't believe any of us had expected.
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Did you miss me? So, how I have missed you. But I knew that we would be back together again someday. I saw it in my dreams. This is the Firefly Fun House. And my name is Bray Wyatt. Yowie wowie, we're gonna have so much fun here. This is my special place. And all my Fireflies can feel safe here. And I cannot wait to show you all what I've learned. Oh, and and I want to introduce you to some very special friends that I've met along the way. Yeah, I'm Mercy, the buzzer.
Hi, I'm Abby, the witch.
You are going to love them.
And I have to admit, I love it.
I like it too.
There are a lot of people who are, oh, what is this? This is, I mean, it's a dark parody of children's shows like Pee-wee's Playhouse, which I've heard people reference Pee-wee's Bray House. Yeah, Bray Wyatt. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or Blue's Clues,
Which I grew up with.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping also, well, I was hoping Pee-wee's Bray House would be right in my realm, but I'm sure if they called it Bray's Clues, it would be right in your realm. But I have a hunch they didn't want to deal with any copywriting, even in parody form, because everybody's litigious these days.
Sure are. Sure
Yeah.
are.
But that being said, I mean, now, initially when I had heard, maybe it was one of those hear what you want to hear things, I guess Pammy is the name of the doll. I thought that it was initially introduced as Abby, which would have perhaps been a nod to the reference of Sister Abigail, which was from Bray's character over the years, an unnamed female sibling that apparently had perished at an early part of life and had caused some of the torture to which he... that's kind of the whole...
Yeah, I see where
It was
you're going
never
with that.
fully drawn out, and I think that's what left it open to possibly be that, but apparently it's Pammy. I don't know. Maybe they can always rewrite that, just like they rewrote another tag team that we'll talk about in a little bit. As well as Mercy the Buzzard, which is a nod to Dan Spivey's 1995 WWF character Waylon Mercy, which, along with actor Robert De Niro's portrayal of Max Cady in the movie Cape Fear, inspired the Bray Wyatt character. So, little nod to, again, that was from my youth, of, the Southern gentleman with the little knife tattoo or dagger tattoo on his forehead that would shake your hand. He had the little Hawaiian shirt over the white tank top, and he was all gentlemanly, shaking hands with the opponent, shaking hands with the ref, but all of a sudden went sadistic as soon as the bell rang.
Yeah, like two sides of a coin.
A little bit, yeah. It was a very interesting dynamic, and then as soon as the bell rang again, it was almost a what happened, what did I just do kind of thing, almost looking at his hands like, what have they wrought, or something.
What have I done?
Yeah, exactly. What something along those lines. Okay, and we just got text confirmation that a little bit more rest is needed after the Cleveland adventure, so we'll at least we don't have to put him on a milk carton just yet. So just letting him know that will work out just peachy keen. I'm sure he has tons of adventures to tell us about, because I don't think he's been with us for the entire month of April.
Yeah.
Because 3 weeks ago, WrestleMania weekend, he was up in North Jersey amidst all the hullabaloo, learning the business end of wrestling, as some have put it. And then 2 weeks ago and last week, it was the sinus infection, and now the Cleveland fatigue. But of course, he'll be ready and raring to go for the MFPW event tonight down in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Funny how that works. All right, he's not even here to defend himself, so I can't slag on him too much. I promised I wouldn't slag on him 3 weeks ago. I didn't say that I was going to keep going until he got back. Plus, these are different reasons. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I'm going with here. So yeah, I don't know. There's something about this character that maybe it's because there's this, and you didn't get to, because it was more of a visual. I didn't include it in the clip, but there were moments where his dark side would come out. I mean, he has these two gloves, one on each hand, one that has the word hurt and the other having the word heal on it, and it's almost like a good guy, bad guy kind of, voices in his ear type thing.
Sort of a duality, basically.
Yeah, dual personality type thing. Either that or maybe he's a really big fan of the original Dragon Warrior video game, as Hurt and Heal are the first 2 spells you learn. Okay, no, that's just me on that.
No,
That's just me. Well, if we see Sleep and Radiant, then we know that that's where he's going with it, but no, I guess not. Got to sneak those video game nods in every once in a while.
Understandable.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Just in order to, better explain where these crazy references are that I come from, or that I get, or that I provide, or whatever the case may be. But yes, I really enjoy this character. I'm looking forward to where else they go with it. Now, because it was in a green screen type format, almost akin to a Blue's Clues, I wonder what's going to happen where, when you get into a live action scenario, namely in the ring. Now, I mean, I've heard rumors that it's going to be more of an interview segment type thing where Bray it'll be a kind of a question mark as to whether he remains amiable in this type of character or whether he perhaps beats down his guest. I've heard that as a possibility. Where do the 2 accompanying I guess puppets and dolls come into the mix here? And if you looked on the initial logo of the thing, there was also a bunny that was pictured that wasn't mentioned in there anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention.
I totally stole your thunder, and I didn't mean to.
You robbed me of my thoughts.
Wow, when you put it that way, it just makes me sound like a complete Richard. Thanks. Well, somebody else who, may have been in that same vein of that, would be the WWE shareholders, as they apparently weren't as keen on the concept, as they don't like the, as they put it, cult leader of children approach that WWE seems to be going for. But at least for now, they're continuing with the character, and I'm glad that they're doing so, as there have been a lot of very intriguing things that have gotten stopped before they've even started. The one that I remember, and I will carefully describe this so that way I don't get in trouble with Ted there, was a spoof on the Blair Witch Project that was done back in late 99, early 2000, based off the popular movie, that was called The Blonde Project.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, you can rhyme, so I think you know what word I'm not trying to say. But it was spelled with a Y, not an I, so that was their workaround.
Okay.
But apparently, even if you spell it differently, you still can't say it. At least I think that's the case. Ted'll, I'm sure, confirm with me on that on the break. Yes. So we'll see how that goes. I'm personally, though, looking forward to seeing what's next. So I'm looking forward to where they go, what development there is. It's, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the dark twist on the cartoon and children's type shows that there's, I don't know. It's because it's different. It's not generic wrestler A versus generic wrestler B. There's a character format that WWE hasn't gone to all that often, but I think it's one of those where less is more, in that everybody doesn't have to be a character, but there are certain people that their own personality shines, and other people, they can get into a character role and it can work. And Bray is one of those people that it just works. It certainly beats the daylights out of the original character that they came up with prior to Bray Wyatt, which was Husky Harris. Yes, that wince says it all.
Yeah.
But one other, since we've been talking about different name changes and things like that, I will say this, that sometimes hilarious mocking works, but I don't endorse people doing so. After the knee-jerk reaction from a week ago Monday, WWE has already renamed the team that was known as the Viking Experience. You know, we talked a little bit about that last week. Yeah, the team that were formerly known as the War Raiders in NXT, and prior to that in New Japan and Ring of Honor as War Machine, there's now a little bit of a kind of hybrid to that, as they're now known as the Viking Raiders.
Okay.
Which, given that we're in the throngs of the NFL draft, I wonder, did they reject other names that combine two different NFL teams?
I don't know.
Like the Giant Eagles, perhaps? Or, I don't know. I'm just, because, Vikings, Minnesota Vikings, and Oakland, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Just, well, for those, I know that sport ball is not a big thing for you.
Sport ball is, yeah, I just...
So I had to provide the justification for those who don't quite follow all the sport balls like that.
Yeah, I don't do sport ball.
Yeah, that's why I figure, all right, even though you don't know the whole NFL thing, I thought, all right, well, these are two names of NFL teams. I'm just trying to bring you along here. That's all, Mitch. Just trying to...
Sure, I'll tag along for the ride.
Yeah, true. Hasn't hurt you so far the last few months here. Twitch, on the other hand, wow, that's a whole other story. All right, we're going to take care of some business here. We're going to get to look at the local scene from Ed from Northeast Philly on the other side, and we've still got quite a bit to look at, including, well, the toughness of not just professional wrestlers, but professional wrestling referees, as there's a rather gruesome story that, well, definitely shows some toughness, to say the least. Also, an NXT personality who got into a little bit of hot water by... Well, speaking of saying things that you aren't supposed to say, well, she kind of did that, and we'll tell you, well, we won't say exactly what was said, but we'll allude to it, and also a longtime WWE road agent who seems to be hitting the road. We'll let you know who that is coming up as well. All this and more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Are you a parrot head? Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
At St. Mary Medical Center, they're on a mission to help you live your healthiest life. Learn more about their advanced technology and innovative procedures, as well as the small steps you can take to be your healthiest self. Meet their highly trained physicians and skilled professionals. Count on St. Mary for experience, brilliant technology, and the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness. St. Mary Healthline every Wednesday at 9 a.m. on 1490 WBCB.
Elena had another asthma attack. She's really sad to miss school again.
Asthma can be triggered by allergens from common pests.
I just can't shake this fever.
Mosquito bites can cause West Nile and Zika virus infections.
Sorry, boss. I'm going to be out of work for a while.
The CDC estimates that more than 300,000 Lyme disease cases spread by ticks occur in the U.S. each year. Don't let pests force you to take a sick day. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
I just finished up work. I walk in, and then he goes, "How's it going? Can I get you something like a bleeping watch?"
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
And you said, "Oh, you took it well." I'm like, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
You can't win. What am I gonna do? Heckle? No. You see how that works out?
Not very well. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. And just chuckling over something, this is what happens when I get slightly distracted by Facebook. So our good friend of the show, the self-professed Fugazi wrestling fan Mike Samsel, putting up... well, he shared a tweet from someone else, the Danderfield Experience, saying, "Non-wrestling fan," this is what they say, "Oh my God, I'm in such an emotional wreck after Endgame. Me. You know it's fake, right?" Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
A little twist, because you're used to wrestling fans hearing all the time, "Oh, you know it's fake, right?" Yeah, so this is... little twist on that, and I thought that was I was thoroughly sports entertained.
Yeah.
And so are you. You don't have to stifle your laughter, by the way. You're always like trying to hold it like hee hee hee. No, it's fine.
I got a bit of a cough, so.
Oh, okay. So you're trying to not laugh and cough and sound. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't want to sound like, I don't know, deaf.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Although, I mean, in a way that was already covered, even though we're probably about a half hour early for it here. And you know what? Since I can't find it, we'll come back to it later. But there was a time where that particular quote toward the end of the show had a deathly sound to it, thanks to our absent second banana here, which is one of Ted Efaw's favorite drops.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll bring it up here in a little bit here, especially because I'm still having. There we go. That's where it is. All right. So we'll have that for a little bit later. Well, you know what? We'll save it for now, so that way it doesn't, drum over what you've got going on. But yeah, in about a half hour, it'll be time for
birthdays.
Yeah, one of Ted's favorite drops. All right, so let's make our way over to the phones as we've got Ed from Northeast Philly providing a look at the local scene. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Good afternoon. And I Play America going on right now in Freehold. They're having that 80s con.
That's right. We've been talking about that for the last few weeks as a litany of different stars from the 80s have made their way, and it's a nice little convention that's going on. They always have some various fun things that are going on as far as events and whatnot.
They have like Rocky Johnson, Paul Roma, Jim Powers, Ronnie Garvin.
Oh, rugged Ronnie Garvin's there. Oh no, man! All right. It'll be too late for me to get over there by the time doggone it. I like rugged Ronnie Garvin.
They also have Happen and Seek of the Wild Samoans.
Yeah, the Wild Samoans. I see here they have
Bruce
advertised
Pritchard.
Ricky the Dragon Steel. Oh, Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love is there?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Wendy Richter.
Yeah, Hall of Famer Wendy. A lot of Hall of Famers there from the 80s. So, yeah, I know that started at 10. I'm not sure what time it goes till.
I'm thinking 5
Till
p.m.
5? Okay, so that's something to definitely check out. They love throwing various things in there.
And did you ever hear of Billy Caputo?
Sorry, Billy Caputo?
Yeah. That name doesn't sound familiar.
Not off the top of my head. That's a wrestler?
Yeah, maybe, or an indie performer, maybe.
I'm taking a look here. Oh, he was an early WWF referee, like in the early days of WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden.
It says health permitting. He might not be there.
Yeah, he retired in 2003 with heart problems. I'm taking a look here, but his career spanned 25 years working for all the major organizations and events, including WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 10. But he was a licensed referee. He got a license from the New York State Athletic Commission, and his first match was a WWF under Vince McMahon Sr. at Sunnyside Gardens in Queens. He left the WWE in 1998 and worked for WCW and the NWA.
There's also next weekend ACPW Delco-Mania. I think I mentioned that last week.
I think we talked about it briefly here.
Yeah, there's a lot of things coming up next week. There's LAW Wars in Briarcliff Fieldhouse, Fire Department. In Glen Olden.
Oh, wow.
I forgot to put down the time. I think it's a nighttime.
That's all right. We can always circle back to that at some point.
They have Best of the Best in Baltimore coming up for ROH. Oh, that's June 28th and 29th in Philly at the 2300 Arena, both at 8 p.m.
Those should certainly be goodies. I know that for Ring of Honor, for example, I know a couple of colleagues of mine doing some good things there in Coast to Coast, Shaheem Ali and LSG, Leon St. Giovanni.
May 3rd and 4th Impact tapings. Tickets are going fast at the 2300 Arena.
Yeah, good to see. I mean, I recall. I mean, it's. I don't know if it's. I guess a sidestep, as in as previously they had various events at the Leacourse Center in Philadelphia as opposed to the 2300 Arena. So I don't know. Maybe it's a slight backslide in terms of the number of people in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, if nothing else, it'll make the arena look a little bit more full, which was certainly a challenge with some of those events like Lockdown and Bound for Glory.
They don't have the lineup listed, so anybody probably could show up.
Oh, true. There have certainly been a lot of names and places switching. That's for sure. So it is hard to say. But yeah, they've got the Impact Live that I believe that's going to be on the. I know it's going to be on the Twitch app, as that's a thing that they've been doing a lot of recently. The Twitch.tv app, well, app and website and everything of that nature.
WSU has a free show 2:00 today at the Colossal Sports Academy in Voorhees.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. And that's about it.
Pretty much it for the look of the local scene. Yeah, as I'm looking here, Impact, they're making their way around. They're actually this weekend, this coming Sunday and Monday, tomorrow and Monday, they are up in Toronto. And then they'll be making their way down here for next weekend to do the Impact Live tapings here in Philly. And then the next day they head up north to New York for Impact Code Red, as I'm looking here.
That's about it.
Certainly should be some goodies there. Thank you so much, Ed, for giving us a look at the local scene here. Appreciate it as always, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, all right.
All right, much appreciated. Now, he got me looking up all this stuff on Billy Caputo here, and man, he had a heck of a lengthy career. And it says here one of his best memories was at Madison Square Garden, where the fabulous Moolah took exception to his officiating, and in spite of winning, she did something to him that nobody had ever done. She picked him up, he weighed about 230 pounds, and body slammed him to the ground. I don't know if I'd call that a best memory necessarily, but he also talks about if you think the job of refereeing is easy, think again. He suffered 4 broken noses and had several shoulder and knee operations, but he loved refereeing. And that is a rather poignant note, as well. Referees, you definitely have to be tough. I mean, you have to have a degree of toughness, to say the least, to be a professional wrestler, but you also have to have one to be a wrestling referee, as evidenced Thursday night at an NXT event in Omaha, Nebraska. Following a botched spot involving a super kick, the referee Tom Castor had endured a horrendous leg break, but continued to referee the match despite his leg being visibly displaced.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was during the main event match between Velveteen Dream and Tyler Breeze. There's video footage out there, which I'm not going to post because you can find it if you want to find it, but I don't want to be like, hey, this thing's really gruesome. Go check it out. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So if you want to check it out, you can. If you don't want to check it out, then just deal with my description and go from there. But video footage shows a second referee entering the ring and signaling an X for medical assistance. Usually when they cross their arms in the air, that's that X in the air is a sign for somebody is injured. We need
okay.
little little pulling back of the curtain, little Toto tugging on the curtain there from Wizard of Oz, just a little bit.
All right.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. No. But yeah, it turned out that the call for medical assistance, strangely enough, wasn't for the initial referee, but the second, at least not in part, but the second referee who came out, Raul Mendoza, had apparently twisted his ankle. So yeah, you have a twisted ankle and then another referee with a broken leg in the same match. Refereeing is not easy. Now, to his credit, Caster, the original referee, was still able to perform the 3 count despite being visibly injured. That is the stuff of legend right there.
That is amazing.
And another fellow referee, Drake Wirtz, confirmed that Caster did indeed suffer a broken leg during that match, although as displaced as it was kind of, in other news, the sky is blue and water is wet. Oh, really? His leg going at an angle that the last time I think you saw it was Sid Vicious back at that pay-per-view in 2000 or 2001. Now that I forget, live on pay-per-view, another broken leg. The less I say about that, the better, and I've already said too much. But yeah, so he did indeed suffer the broken leg and was stretchered to the back, and then Wirtz tweeting out, "Please say a prayer for my brother Tom Caster, WWE. He broke his leg in the line of duty tonight during the main event of NXT Omaha. When he was on the stretcher, he squeezed my hand and proudly said, 'Drake, I love the business.' We love you, Tom." That was, wow. Man. I don't even know how many, I don't even know what kind words to say just of, wow, the gravitas, the chutzpah, the Mahonies on Tom Caster to be able to endure that kind of pain and keep going. That's something that you could probably get some sort of video up, and I'm sure somebody probably already has, and edit, Chariots of Fire in the background, slow motion type stuff. Okay, my mind goes into weird places. But I think in listening to this show over the course of the last decade plus, you probably already knew that. But every once in a while, I got to kind of throw, I guess, a reminder out there. I don't know. But yeah, the toughness in terms of the referee here. And a whole bunch more to get into here. But yes, we'll talk about some other moves that were made here as... WWE, we talked about the Superstar shakeup a whole bunch last week, and there were some kind of, I guess, aftershocks of the shakeup.
Aftershocks?
A couple other moves that were made after the fact. After, all right, this wrestler's going to be on Raw, or this wrestler's going to be on SmackDown. All of a sudden, wait, they were on Raw. Why are they on SmackDown now? So WWE has quietly moved Andrade and Zelina Vega, his valet, back to the SmackDown brand after they were moved to Raw during last week's Superstar shakeup. Meanwhile, Aleister Black has also been moved to SmackDown after officially being assigned to Raw last week. Now, the reason for the moves, well, they were backstage love-related. Aww. Yes, the moves reunite the couples of Andrade, who in real life is dating Charlotte Flair, and also keeps husband and wife Aleister Black and Zelina Vega on the same brand. So that way they're not taking a road trip and having to be apart from one another because the Raw is in one part of the country and SmackDown's in the other part of the country. It makes being in a couple rather challenging. Whether you're in a dating scenario or whether you've tied the knot and are husband and wife or spouse and spouse, because 2019. Okay, gotta keep it open to everybody here. Just in these particular examples, I'm going with here, but I'm all about the open-mindedness. It's a good thing. So yeah, good to see that they have that they have reunited, and it feels so good, as Peaches and Herbs sang about back in 1979.
Oh boy,
got to throw those occasional chart toppers in as well. Saturday mornings from 6 to 8 here on 1490 WBCB. Shameless plug. All right. On that note, we're going to get to some not-so-shameless plugs. We know them as the time out here, the commercial breaks. But we'll be back, and we've got a whole bunch more to get into, including an appearance as a masked man that is a name that, well, I know Twitch would be excited to hear, but he's always said he's over him, but he really isn't. Plus, we'll tell you what's going on with Ronda Rousey and the power play that WWE made that will affect the StarCast weekend heading into Double or Nothing. All that and more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. April showers bring 40% off engagement diamonds and 50% off mountings. What, you thought May flowers? No, bridal showers. It's the annual Bernie Robbins bridal sale, April 5th and 6th at all 4 Bernie Robbins locations, featuring millions of dollars of GIA-graded diamonds. All this and interest-free financing. Get details at BernieRobbins.com. Oh, and a word to the wise, guys, bring your love to this event or get used to taking cold showers.
Hi, this is Dr. Lee Piccarello, inviting you to tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. to The Head Game, a must-listen show for athletes and coaches of all levels and ages. Mindful Athlete Training in Newtown, Pennsylvania is a mental circuit training program that prepares the athletes to perform at the highest level of today's game. Athletes get into the zone faster and stay there longer. Tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. right here on WBCB 1490 AM and throughout the world at WBCB1490.com.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
We filmed Pennsylvania adoptive families and asked them why more people need to become foster or adoptive parents.
As a society, we have a responsibility to make sure every kid gets from being a kid to being a responsible adult.
I would encourage anybody to do it. You get so much more out of it than you expect.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
As one of the 10 largest employers in the Delaware Valley, SEPTA employs over 9,000 people in every area of public transit. If you're looking for an employer that's diverse, consider a career with SEPTA. There's exceptional growth potential, competitive compensation, and great benefits, including medical, dental, and life insurance, and free SEPTA transportation. SEPTA is currently hiring bus operators and skilled trades, including masons, plumbers, electricians, and more. Visit SEPTA.org/careers to get started.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, April 27th. On this date in 1998, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Hampton, Virginia. In the main event, Steve Austin fought The Artist, formerly known as Goldust, to a no contest. On this date in 2003, WWE held its Backlash pay-per-view. In the main event, Goldberg pinned The Rock. On this date in 2008, WWE held its Backlash pay-per-view. In the main event, Triple H defeated JBL, John Cena, and Randy Orton in a 4-way elimination match to win the WWE Championship. On this date in 2014, TNA held its Sacrifice pay-per-view. In the main event, Eric Young pinned Magnus to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, April 27th.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you alongside, not Twitch, but Mitch.
Heyo.
Yeah, I feel like I should be getting used to that at this point. It's 4 in a row.
Yeah. Huh.
But he has no problem tweeting about the Monster Factory show tonight because he's going to be in it.
He is?
Well, I'm sure in some capacity, unless he somehow oversleeps that as well. But I don't think so, because that is going to cause me to say some things that I probably shouldn't, so I'm going to bite my tongue on it and move on.
All right, move on.
Yeah, little bit of salt. That's all. Just a little salty. So, yes, who was that masked man? Well, some people are saying it was, some people are saying it wasn't. It's one of those mysteries in wrestling that it could be, Rabbit. It could be. Yes, so apparently CM Punk, the wrestler turned MMA fighter, made an unadvertised appearance at last Saturday's MKE wrestling event in West Allis, Wisconsin, at the Knights of Columbus Hall. Now, apparently Punk wore a mask and his body was fully covered to the point that the live crowd was unaware that it was him. Punk interfered during the Ace Steel versus Derek St. Holmes match, performing his GTS finisher on St. Holmes and quickly exiting the building without revealing his identity. Now, Punk is longtime friends with Steel, and this was the final event to be held at that Knights of Columbus Hall where Punk had worked during his independent career before going into WWE. Now, Silas Young, who was there, he's a wrestler as well with Ring of Honor and also does some independent shows, who filmed the appearance with his cell phone, had some fun with this on Twitter by noting that some punk, in air quotes, interfered in a match. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Now, in other Punk news, because it's been a while since we've heard from him, so we got to get them in bits and in chunks, sporadic chunks as opposed to spread out. Punk took a very obvious shot at former friend and now lawsuit opponent Colt Cabana via social media on Monday. Comedian Ron Funches had written on social media that he wanted to have Punk on his podcast until he remembered what happened the last time the former WWE star was on a podcast. That was the tell-all about why he left WWE, and it was on Colt Cabana's podcast, and that led to a lawsuit from one of the WWE doctors for defamation of character, and it was a whole to-do.
Oh, boy, that sounds like a fiasco.
Yeah, it was. So Punk responding to the comedian Ron Funches, he said, "Promise not to sue me for being a good friend, then sign a legally binding agreement that you're not a greedy, steaming pile of ungrateful snake excrement, and I'll consider it." Yeah, Cabana is suing Punk for not covering all of his legal fees that stemmed from that defamation lawsuit that WWE physician Chris Amon filed against both men over comments that Punk made on Cabana's podcast back in Thanksgiving of 2014, I believe it was. While a jury ruled in favor of Punk and Cabana in the Amon lawsuit, Cabana's $1.2 million lawsuit against Punk remains active.
It does.
So, yeah, so they won the case, but now they're going after each other.
Oh, boy.
Litigation, it destroys friendships. So, in other names that haven't been around in a little bit, although this one a little bit more recent, Ronda Rousey. She announced via her YouTube show that she underwent surgery to repair a broken pinky knuckle that she suffered during the WrestleMania 35 main event. Now, the procedure included the surgeon inserting 2 pins into her right hand. Ouch.
Yikes.
Rousey noted that she clipped an elbow with her hand during the match with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and said that her cast will come off in 4 weeks. Now, she also talked about approaching WWE with the original intention last year of only working through November, but she opted to stay through WrestleMania because she enjoyed the experience so much and due to the possibility that women could be in the main event of WWE's biggest event of the year, which she was. Now, Ronda said that she and her husband, Travis Brown, are now attempting to start a family, and she offered no promises regarding a return to WWE. She said she's never had a baby and conceded that it's at least possible she won't have interest in returning to the ring once the baby arrives, but she also left the door open to returning.
Well, okay then.
Yeah, so I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. I mean, hey, there's a short window of opportunity when it comes to that. It's with athletics and with parenting, or childbirthing, I guess. So sometimes you have to put one on the shelf to be able to do the other.
Yeah.
It happens that way. Now, something that, well, I don't know, something that I don't want to say it necessarily grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say in Family Guy, but it's something that is just unfortunate across the board, In a move that shows that WWE is flexing its muscles like Gary Stridham.
Here he comes, Gary Stridham. Wow, take a look at that.
From the World Bodybuilding Federation.
Oh my God.
That never gets old.
It will never get old.
No.
Probably.
From the good old World Bodybuilding Federation. The Undertaker and Kurt Angle will not be appearing at the StarCast 2 event in Las Vegas as originally advertised.
Huh?
Yeah, event promoter Conrad Thompson telling Sports Illustrated that WWE stood in the way of the legends appearing as advertised, saying, quote, "The announcement went wide and viral. I was told it had gotten WWE's attention and that Vince McMahon texted The Undertaker about the appearance. Taker's representation, which is a company called Get Engaged, called to tell me WWE says he can't do it." So apparently Vince McMahon putting the kibosh on The Undertaker's appearance outside of a WWE event.
Huh.
He went on to add, quote, "I had a friend discuss the situation with Vince McMahon, and I was assured the heat wasn't on me or my event, but rather that The Undertaker shouldn't be doing personal appearances outside of WWE. I was assured that damages would be covered, a suitable replacement offered, or some sort of compromise to make everyone happy," end quote. So, you're not getting The Undertaker or Kurt Angle, but we'll give you something. Heath Slater, I don't know.
Oh?
He's got kids. No. They didn't say who necessarily. He also explained that he had hoped that WWE would allow Kurt Angle to keep his booking and wanted to use Shawn Michaels as a replacement for The Undertaker, but WWE has not signed off on it. Now, it's unfortunate given that the talents agreed to the event and were advertised, but nonetheless, there are a ton of big names appearing at StarCast 2, which will be held May 23rd to 26th in Las Vegas. You can check that out for more information at starcast.com, StarCast with 2 R's.
All right.
Because it's like Starcade, the old WCW pay-per-view back in the day. That actually predates the WWF/E pay-per-views. They started in '83.
Okay, then.
Yeah, so they did it first, but apparently WWE did it best. That's why they're still around, and WCW isn't. For a number of different reasons, which we'll get into another time, because we don't have that much time left in the show to get into that whole thing. And... oh, perfect time for Ted to come into the studio here as I get to balance, walk a bit of a tightrope walk carefully with this story here. NXT UK wrestler Rhea Ripley, she got herself into a little bit of hot water this past Wednesday as she was on her Twitch.tv live video stream. I have to give the dot afterwards so we don't think that it has to do with our lovable yet absent cohort. Yeah, the Twitch.tv live video stream in which personalities are tipped based on their various presentations. Usually I see it from people playing video games, and I've even done a little video game commentary with that at Fearon Burgundy. Check it out. Meanwhile, Ripley was doing that, hanging out with playing games with other NXT stars on Brennan Williams' stream. And one of the stream viewers, because Rhea Ripley, well, she is a heel, she is made to be booed and not be liked by people. She was tipped $15 to be insulted. Now, I don't know. Who would pay money to be insulted? I mean, there are plenty of people who insult me for free. I mean, as Monty Python has shown, I can understand paying money to have an argument, but that's a whole... Yeah, Ted knows what I'm talking about. That was never 5 minutes just now. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Yeah, okay, moving on. I meant to get a clip of that, but I didn't, but we're moving on. Well, she was a little too crass in the insult, and a homophobic slur slipped out while she was making said insult. Ripley addressed herself by her real name on Twitter later that night to issue an apology about the incident, saying, quote, "Demi Bennett speaking here. I know a lot of you are upset with me after tonight, but I just wanted to publicly say that I am sorry. My brain-to-mouth filter came down for a second, and I forgot that some words are a big no-no to a lot of people. I am a firm believer that everyone should be treated equally, whether that be race or sexual orientation. With that said, I just wanted to say how dearly sorry I am to everyone that was offended by my choice of words tonight." Yeah, there were definitely some profane words as well as that particular other F word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually both F words were used in the same insult. So, yeah. Yeah, there's that. That didn't go over so well. So, yeah, she's. We'll see what kind of repercussions come from that as things move on here. And finally, one other story. There are reports from various sources that longtime WWE road agent Dean Malenko has resigned. The man is of 1,000 holds, as he was known in WCW, worked in New Japan, ECW, and the WWF before retiring in 2001 as an active wrestler, and then went on to be a backstage road agent, helping with the booking of the matches. Let the AEW speculation begin, because that seems to be the hot, popular, trendy thing nowadays. Because it's the new rival company. I'm sure people will be doing the same thing if somebody gets cut this spring, this coming fall with the NFL. Oh, are they going to go to the Vince McMahon's XFL? Oh, is that going to be a thing? Yeah, because we all know that's, despite everything that happened with the other football league, that's apparently still going to be coming. Supposedly, we're going to be hearing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the XFL!
That also never gets old. All right, but we are, sadly to say, we're at about that time, aren't we? Well, yeah, we'll get more into Money in the Bank stuff next week, because definitely want to get into all this here. So, that being said, since we've got about a little less than 4 minutes left, it's time for...
Birthdays!
With no cough. You caught that earlier, right, Ted? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
His favorite drop.
I don't know why. It just makes me laugh.
With all of the crazy stuff that I've gone from a Superman 3 reference here in the show to the Firefly Fun House to Gary Stridham. Yeah, so there's a little something for everyone. Even reference Monty Python, for crying out loud. All right, so we've got 3 plus 3 Brucey bonuses. All right, first, on this date in 1951, Paul Daniel Freely was born. The guitarist, songwriter, and co-founder of that band that performed one night on the dying days of WCW Nitro.
You one of the best. You got the best. The hottest band in the world. Kiss!
Yes, that's right. From the band Kiss, better known professionally as Ace Frehley, turned 68 today.
Wow.
Yeah. And still rock and rolling all night and partying every day. On this date in 1974, John Parsonage was born. The former TNA X Division champion known as Hotshot Johnny Devine turns 45 today. And on this date in 1979, Oleg Alexandrovich Prudius was born. That's a mouthful. The former WWE Tag Champion known as Vladimir Kozlov turns 40 today. Now to the Brucey bonuses, things outside of the world of wrestling, and these are going to be a couple of fun ones here, to say the least, especially the one thing that I've got here. On this date in 1948, Catherine Elizabeth Pearson was born. Who? The singer and musician who was, she's probably better known as Kate Pearson, one of the founders of the band the B-52s. Yeah, Kate Pearson. She turns 71 today. Songs like Love Shack. And unbeknownst to me until later, the theme they performed the theme to Rocko's Modern Life, the old Nickelodeon show.
They did?
They did.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, Fred having that. Yeah, I can picture it now. That Rocko's Modern Life. Name it. Rocko's Modern Life. Like I can picture Fred's voice from the B-52s now, just thinking about it.
More do you know?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that blew my mind about that. But anyway, Kate Pearson turned 71 today. Yeah, where does the time go? On this date in 1954, Herman Edwards Jr. was born.
Herman Edwards?
Yes, the former NFL player for the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and New York Jets, known for a few interesting press conference quotables.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
So great.
We
love him.
My laughter for that one.
We love you, Herm Edwards. He turned 65 today. And on this date in 1959, Sheena Shirley Orr was born. The Scottish singer and songwriter with early 80s hits including Morning Train and We've Got Tonight, better known as Sheena Easton, turns 60 today. Yeah, Morning Train. She was originally going to call it 9 to 5, but because Dolly Parton had the same hit a little bit earlier that year, she had to change it to Morning Train 9 to 5. Little did you know with the chart toppers there. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Ted Efaw is up next. He's got the Country Roads show up until 5:30. And play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well. Serving you better than ever before. This is Fort